And then there were four. Well, not mathematically official quite yet for you real sticklers out there, but we now know the four teams who very likely will be competing in the BCFC playoffs this season. Now, you could argue we already knew that when the season started. We would see Okanagan, West Shore, Langley, and VI in the Final Four. But the drama now rests in two very intriguing races in the final 3 weeks of the season. Hey guys, Dominic Abassi here for the British Columbia Football Conference. First, let's shout out some of the guys who really went off in week number 7. Kyler Mosley had a nice day, 141 yards and a touch for the Sun in what is becoming a very crowded receiving corps. Mosley is having a really quiet but very strong season statistically for the Sun. Respect to Huskers quarterback Noah Falconer. He was coming off a one completion game the week before, ended up slinging the ball for 200 yards and no turnovers, so a nice bounce back for him. I told the Broncos they needed to shut down Rams running back Nathan Lund. They did not. Also, the Rams had 3 receivers who all went for over 100 yards in their game, a very rare feat as well. On the Rams defense, Kyle Clarat, I see him with 20 defensive points on the day. And Raiders running back Rhett Williams had the best day of any running back this season against the West Shore Rebels defense, 150 yards. And it's been a challenging season for Rhett in Nanaimo, but he had a real breakthrough performance in the Raiders' loss in West Shore. Now for week number 8. And while we won't see any of the teams who are in these 2 races that I mentioned going head-to-head, things are starting to set up. You've got Langley and VI racing for the 3-4 spots, and then you've got West Shore and Okanagan battling it out for the 1-2 spots. And the beauty of this schedule is that those 4 teams play head-up, Raiders, Rams, Rebels, Sun in week number 10, likely in games that will end up deciding the final playoff seedings. We probably won't know the playoff positioning until after those games, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch for sure. Now, the VI Raiders hosting Chilliwack. That's the first game on triple header Saturday this weekend. Not a lot of intrigue here, unfortunately. The Raiders beat the Huskers 40-0 on the road in week 3. Should be more of the same in Nanaimo. However, the Raiders need to take care of their business over the next 2 weeks at home against Valley and then visiting the Kamloops Broncos. And that sets up that big week 10 matchup at home against the Rams. Kickoff in that game, 1 o'clock at Caledonia Park in Nanaimo. For the second straight week, the Okanagan Sun facing a game that on paper they should pretty easily win. They visit the Broncos, and they shut out Kamloops 36-0 in week number 2. Keith Zyla appears to have taken back the reins of the offense as he started at quarterback last week for the Sun. I'm expecting him to do the same this weekend. Ben McCauley, Sun head coach, says he feels that Zyla just gives them a little bit more of a dynamic look on offense, and he's got a deep receiving corps to throw to now. Rashawn Simonize is in the mix as well. We talked about Mosley, Shamar Donaldson, Nathaniel Anderson. It's a very interesting Sun offense, and I think that group is going to continue to gel and have a good day against the Broncos. A really cool event happening in that game that I wanted to touch on. Former Bronco receiver Brennan Plant. He's been growing out his hair for about 3 years, and he's done this before in the past. He cuts his hair and donates it to cancer patients. Incredible, noble effort by this young man. But he's really encouraging people to step up and donate money towards another former Bronco in Evan Mutry, who, of course, is paralyzed from the neck down after getting diagnosed with a rare disease, enterovirus D68, in 2014. A life-changing experience for him. And Plant is encouraging people to donate money to another former Bronco alumni. You can get all the details on that and a link to donate at kamloopsbroncos.com. Incredibly huge gesture, I think, from Plant, and really cool that he's encouraging people to step up for a former Bronco who he actually doesn't really know, but says he's part of the family, he's part of the brotherhood, and we should be supporting him. Kickoff there, 6 o'clock, Hillside Stadium. Final game of the week, and the game of the week for my money. West Shore visiting Langley. The Rams with a coaching change this week caught a lot of people off guard. Kerry Joseph stepping down for personal reasons. Not the only coach to step down for personal reasons in the last couple of weeks in the CJFL. Jeff Alamahota takes over, and so he's a familiar face. He was with the team. He's been their head coach before. I don't expect a lot of hiccup there. It should be a decent amount of continuity, depending on how the players are taking this internally anyways. Hugely critical 2 weeks for the Rams. They host the Rebels, then they visit the Sun before that Week 10 matchup with the Raiders. Now, VI should win their next 2 games and enter Week 10 with 5 wins on the season. The Rams, meanwhile, would need to beat either the Rebels or the Sun to hit that 5-win mark when they head to Nanaimo. If they don't, they're going to have to beat the Raiders by 8 points to earn 3rd place in the standings. So they need to find a way, I think, to get a win over the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, they're going to go in Week 10 in a must-win scenario, knowing they need to win by more than a touchdown against the Raiders at Caledonia Park. The Rebels, meanwhile, man, they are absolutely red hot. This team looks darn right unstoppable right now. 6 wins in a row, and they have their eyes on a Week 10 showdown with the Sun that will likely decide first place in the regular season standings. Get out there, see this amazing football live for your own eyes. If you can't, I understand, but we've got you covered. BCFCTV.com, streaming all games live as we've done all season. I'm Dominic Abassi for the British Columbia Football Conference.